Hey guys, I just wanted to make a video and I wanted to let you guys know that we are at war. We are at war, and I'm going to show you that here shortly. First of all, here's my Patreon page. Like I said, I'll be getting ready to set it up. I have got it set up. I've got one tier, I think it is, for now, and that's fine with me. I don't care. I just wanted to make it available. Like I told you guys, my goal is to start making a lot of videos and help people to get caught up with what's going on, because if your mind is not ready for the events that are about to unfold, you're going to go into a state of fear, a state of panic, and there's going to be chaos, and you're not going to know exactly what to do, and you're not going to understand exactly what's going on, and that's going to be a problem. The people need to become aware of what is going on. So if you want to donate, you can donate. I'm gonna start putting my PayPal and my Patreon page in the show more section. This is the only time I'm going to bring it up. I'm not going to bring it up in every video. I'm just one time let you know that it exists, and if you want to help, you can. It takes a long time to record a video, then to go back and edit the video, and then to render the video, and then to upload the video. And for me, the time involved in doing that can be anywhere from a couple hours to as many as a couple weeks, depending on the length of the video and what kind of details are going to be in the video. So there's a lot of work involved, and time is the critical thing. In order to get time, you have to kind of lower your work schedule down and create the time, and the only way to do that is if you have the extra income. So if you want to help out, that's great, and if you don't, that's great. That's up to you. Just letting you know that it's here if you want to participate in it. I want to go ahead and get started with talking about the war that we are in and what's going on today. I want you to think about the executive order that Trump initiated just prior to his inauguration. I want you to think about the caravan that has moved up to the United States border, and the other caravans that are coming to connect with that caravan. I want you to think about the election fraud that's been kind of halfway exposed at this point, but will be fully exposed later on. And I also would like for you to think about the California wildfires that are taking place. Now, before I get started, just prior to Donald Trump's inauguration, he signed an executive. This executive order was issued on December 21st, 2017. Now, he was inaugurated January 20th, 2018. Now, this executive order right here is for blocking the property of persons. Okay? What persons? Persons that are involved in serious human rights abuse. Now, what you're going to find out is that this human rights abuse has got to do with human trafficking. Okay? And what you're also going to find out is that this human trafficking has to do with sex trafficking and all sorts of undescribable acts that these people are involved in. Now, it says involved in serious human rights abuse, or, okay, not and, so they don't have to be human rights and corruption, but it's serious human rights abuse or corruption. Corruption where? Corruption in the government, corruption around the world, corruption everywhere you turn, corruption. Okay, the voter fraud, for example, corruption. Now let's look at something here. Right here it says, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, find that the prevalence and severity of human rights abuse and corruption that have their source in whole or in substantial part outside the United States, such as those committed or directed by persons listed in the annex to this order, have reached such scope and gravity that they threaten the stability of international political and economic systems. Now, when I get ready to read this next part, I want you to think about the fires that have been going on. I want you to think about the storms that they've been controlling and manipulating. I want you to think about the voter fraud. I want you to think about all the caravan that's coming in. Now, let me say something about this caravan. This caravan is twofold. Okay, well, there's multiple caravans, and they're all going to get together and come together at the Mexico-United States border. But this caravan is twofold. In its core is 300 individuals that do not want peace with the United States. They do not want asylum. They are funded by the satanic Luciferian cabal. Okay, a lot of times people will say it's funded by Democratic Party. Okay, just like the KKK was created and funded by the Democratic Party. Yes, that's true. It's absolutely true that it was funded by the Democratic Party. Um, there's no questioning any of that. If you go do the actual research and get the documented facts, it is very clear that the Democratic Party is the one that made the KKK and all these other different things. But that's not. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that it is not the Democratic Party. See, it's both the Democratic Party and also the Republican Party. There's some in the Democratic Party and some in the Republican Party. It's not about a party. It is about a Luciferian satanic cabal that it's like an octopus with tentacles that reach across the entirety of the earth, every square inch of the earth, in fact. Okay, so that's what I want you to understand. This has nothing to do with the Democrats. It has nothing to do with the Republicans. It has nothing to do with the parties. Okay, but this caravan has a core of 300 people, and these 300 people are part of the satanic Luciferian cabal. And these 300 people got together down there, and then they promoted it as peace, as seeking asylum, and all these different things. And they got a gathering together, and they moved northward. And as they moved northward, more and more people started to join this group, not realizing that the core of this thing was a satanic Luciferian agenda of wickedness that was coming to the United States to get entry into the United States, to begin to destroy the economy, to begin to use up all the resources, and to begin to create havoc and disasters, lives lost, and all sorts of different things. So what you have is a twofold caravan. You have the core of these 300, and who knows how many more MS-13 gang members and all sorts of other things that are mixed in, but you have at least 300 in there. And then outside that 300, you have people that are truly and genuinely looking for asylum in the United States. But as we've seen here, the first group, the first caravan that made it to the border, are talking about they want to get away from their country because of the gangs and because of the things, and they're seeking asylum in the free nation of the United States, and yet they hold their flag for their country. Okay, so it's very clear that they're just downright deceiving people. But there are people in this caravan that are truly and genuinely seeking asylum in the United States, and those people will go with the caravan to the border, and then they will seek asylum, and they will do it properly. They will do it legally. Okay, what you are witnessing with the caravan is an attack on the United States. Okay, the 300 core is the attack, and they're bringing all these other ones to rush the border. Nevertheless, I want you to think about the fires, the caravan, all the different things while I read this next section. Human rights abuse and corruption undermine the values that form an essential foundation of stable, secure, and functioning societies. Stable, secure, and functioning societies. Okay? If you've got several thousand, 10,000, 7,000, 2,000 people rushing into the United States like they did in Great Britain and Europe and all that area over there, all of a sudden you've got chaos, you have instability, no security, and a non-functioning society. Okay? It says, have devastating impacts on individuals, weaken democratic institutions, degrade the rule of law, perpetuate violent conflicts, facilitate the activities of dangerous persons, and undermine economic markets. The United States seeks to impose tangible and significant consequences on those who commit serious human rights abuse or engage in corruption, as well as to protect the financial system of the United States from abuse by these persons. Okay, and then here it says this is the important part. This is who it's for. The persons that are listed in the annex to this order. This is important, guys. This is what you need to understand. What is this executive order for? Because later we're going to find out the power of this executive order. It is for the persons listed in the annex to this order. Any foreign person determined by who? The Secretary of Treasury. Why the Secretary of Treasury? Of all the different organizations, why the Secretary of Treasury? You'll figure out why here in a little bit. Anyway, any foreign person determined by the Secretary of Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State and the Attorney General. The Attorney General. Remember, Jeff Sessions was our Attorney General when Trump put Jeff Sessions into office, and now he's removed Jeff Sessions. Okay, and there's a reason for that. Jeff Sessions has done everything he was supposed to do. All the indictments are sealed. Okay, now, to be responsible for or complicit in or to have directly or indirectly engaged in serious human rights abuse. Okay, so this isn't for you. This executive order is not for you or the everyday person or we the people. Okay, people that are involved in serious human rights abuse. To be a current or former government official. Okay, this executive order against government officials, or a person acting for or on behalf of such an official who is responsible for or complicit in or has directly or indirectly engaged in corruption, including the misappropriation of state assets, the expropriation of private assets for personal gain, corruption related to government contracts, or to the extraction of natural resources, or bribery, or the transfer or the facilitation of the transfer of the proceeds of corruption. To be or have been a leader or official of an entity, including any government entity that has engaged in or whose members have engaged in any of the activities described in these subsections of this section. Okay, now we're going to scroll on down a little bit, and I'll just kind of leave it up here just for a second. You can pause the video if you want to read these sections, but I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit and show you the important parts. Okay, section 2 here, the unrestricted immigrant and non-immigrant entry into the United States of aliens determined to meet one or more of the criterion in section 1 of this order would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, and the entry of such persons into the United States as immigrants or non-immigrants is hereby suspended. Okay, that is suspended now. Okay, now section 3 here. It says, I hereby determine. Now this is Trump. I hereby determine that hold on. Let me stop for a second, guys. If you haven't watched my video about the inauguration, then you can come over here and watch that video. It's important. It's an hour and 8 minutes long. It's called "What is the Agenda of Trump and of the World?" Okay, it's showing 94 views, but you guys don't believe that at all. I have seen look, just 3 months ago I uploaded a video, and for 4.5 months it showed a total of 6 views. 6 views. That's all it showed. I showed only 6 people watched this video for 4.5 months. And then at that 4.5 months, in 2 days it went to 2,600 something views. And there's no way that in 2 hours, in 1 day, all of a sudden it went up 2,000 views. That's impossible. They're manipulating numbers and doing things on YouTube because why? Because we are at war. They want to control information. They want to control the narrative. Okay? Mockingbird, a CIA operation, guys, in which they went into the media and they control the narrative, the minds of men. I'm not going to get into that. I will be making a video that will talk about the Mockingbird situation and also talk about Q-Anon or Q-Anon or Q. But this is the video. If you want to watch it, you can run over to my channel or just type in the search engine on YouTube up there at the top and just put "What is the Agenda of Trump and the World?" and I'll go into it. And understand that he gave an oath of allegiance to all Americans. Okay, and I went through this entire inauguration speech to show you what is going on today in November of 2018. And it says, we the people have a job to do. We are to hold him and all government accountable. That's our job. It's our job to speak, to bring forth the light, as he does his job inside of the government. And we'll get into that in more detail. Let's get back to the executive order. But if you haven't seen this, you need to go watch it so that you can understand exactly what's going on today. Okay, so let's go back to section 3. I hereby determine that the making of donations of the types of articles specified in section 203b2 of IEEPA 50 U.S.A. 1702b2 by, to, or for the benefit of any persons whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order would seriously impair my ability as Trump, my ability to deal with the national emergency declared in this order, and I hereby prohibit such donations as provided by section 1 of this order. To deal with a national emergency, which is declared in this order, a national emergency. Okay, what's the date of this again, guys? Coming back up here. Issued on December 21st, 2017, prior to his inauguration into office. This is a national emergency. What happens when you declare a national emergency? All you truthers out there that have done the research know that the Obamas and the Bushes and the Clintons and all them people set everything up to where when you declare a national emergency, FEMA takes control, and the government takes and seizes control of all things. Okay? What they didn't understand when they were setting all that up is that it's going to turn around and be used against them, not us. They were setting it up to use against us, but that's not going to happen, as you're going to see. Let's get back down here. Right here on section B, it says the term entity. Okay, but first of all, the term person means an individual or entity, and the term entity means a partnership, an association, a trust, joint venture, corporation, group, subgroup, or other organization. And then the term United States persons means any United States citizen, permanent resident alien, entity organized under the laws of the United States or any jurisdiction within the United States, including foreign branches, or any person in the United States. What you're going to find out as you do your research is that the cabal uses charities and different funds and different operations, different trusts and associations in order to do what they need to do. Now, let's go down to section 7 here. And it says, for those persons whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order who might have a constitutional presence in the United States, might have, I find that because of the ability to transfer funds or other assets instantaneously, prior notice to such persons of measure to be taken pursuant to this order would render those measures ineffectual. And it says, I therefore determine that for these measures to be effective in addressing the national emergency declared in this order, there need be no prior notice of a listing of determination made pursuant to this order. And then over here in the annex section of it, you can go through here and see the names. Remember, it referred to it. Now, so from the time that, remember that when Bush said that we were at war on terror, right? That gave all the powers over to the president. Now, what's happened since this order came out, or this executive order came out, was that he put Sessions into office as general attorney, and he was in there getting all the indictments. Now we went from, like, I think it was like 1,000 or something of that nature indictments to something near 60,000 or more at this point in the game, and it's called the game. Okay, that's what the cabal calls it, the game. You, that is we the people, are being gamed. Okay, that's why Trump the other day, when they said that if the Democrats want to start investigations, install everything, and do all that stuff, he said that's fine. Two can play at that game. Okay, it's a game. It's called the game. That's what it's called. Now, we watched all this unfold. Okay, we watched Trey Grady down there in the House and asking all the questions. Jeff Sessions was up there getting all the indictments sealed, and all the third parties involved with the indictments sealed, and all the different things sealed. Okay, that now all of a sudden what were they doing? We had Donald Trump going around the nation trying to get the Senate seats. Now notice he wasn't going after the House. He wasn't trying to get House seats. Everyone that he went and did a rally for were governors and Senate seats. Okay, that's important. They needed the Senate. But in the meanwhile, they had convinced the Democrats that they need the House, and so they were going after the House, not realizing that the House was empty and worthless and the power was sitting in the Senate. Okay, this is all a setup. Okay, like I told you guys from the beginning, this has nothing to do with your enslavement or judgment upon you. All the FEMA camps, all the Walmarts that were shut down and transformed into detainment centers, all the tunnels that are underground, all the different things that are going on, they had planned out for the American people. We, the people. They were at war against the people. Now, what's happened since then is the military refused to participate. There's been a plan that's, I don't know how long it's been in place, but I know it's been in place for a minimum of at least 10 years, and probably farther back than that, in order to get rid of this cabal that has taken over the earth. And this is not an easy task. This is something that takes time, and you cannot just start arresting people because you start arresting people and other people are going to become free. You have to get all your ducks in order. You got to get them completely exposed. You got to get everything in place. You got to get it to where you got to allow them, that is the cabal, okay, not the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party, because there's some in the Republican, some in the Democratic Party. That's why he said he had to drain the swamp. Because it's neither Democratic nor Republican. Now the Democratic side is more into it than the Republican side, but nevertheless they're all involved. Okay, there's a huge amount of corruption going on. About 70% of the government, 30% are legit. Now, so we come up with all these indictments. He drops Sessions, puts Whitaker into place to shake everything up. And what you're noticing is, as all this is going on, we all of a sudden we got voter fraud, because all of a sudden the Democrats realize, we need the Senate. So now they start moving the votes around and manipulating the votes, which Trump already knew, the military already knew, Q-Anon already knew, everybody already knew. The people that are awake and following the light already understood that they were going to allow the Democratic Party to do what they did in 2008, what they did in 2012, what they did in 2016. Okay, which was rig the elections, bring in blank votes, and all these different things. Okay, why in the world would you allow them to do it? The reason is because you are collecting the evidence. You're allowing them to do whatever they're going to do, and you are collecting the evidence to present to the American people. Now, understand that we are under an executive order that has declared a national emergency. That means that at any given point in time, what did President Trump do not too long ago, guys? He took the EAS system and he put and sent a message out to every electronic device. so that all devices, so that at any given point in time he can declare martial law when the time becomes appropriate. Now, you've got, since the midterm elections, all of a sudden you've got the wildfires, you've got the caravan. Now, when the midterms were coming, the caravan was months and months and months away, they said, right? And then all of a sudden the elections are over, and in a week or two, they're here, right? It didn't take them months to get here. The first wave of the immigrants is at the border, and the other waves are coming to join up with that group. Okay? We are at war. The cabal knows and understands what is going on, and they are panicking and they are freaking out, guys. But they are exposing themselves every time they turn around because they don't know what to do anymore. You had President Trump going out for the Senate, doing the rallies for the Senate. In the meanwhile, you had they pushed Obama out there to try and get the votes for the Democrats. And what was he saying? Guys, please, you got to go out and you got to vote. Why? Because we're going down, and I don't want to get caught. I don't want to get exposed. I don't want, they were begging people to get out to the polls, to go out and to vote, to do their thing. You guys have to understand that this is completely set up. Trump and the military and the patriots are 10 steps ahead of the cabal at all times, and we're not playing 2D chess. These moves are unbelievable. It's 4D chess, 5D chess. It's all sorts of things. It's amazing what's happening, and it's happening before your very eyes. Scriptures are being fulfilled before your very eyes. But you and I have to wake up all the way and understand what is going on. Judgment is here. The wickedness has come to its fulfillment, and their time is up. They almost pulled it off. Almost pulled it off. But you are under a national national emergency. And so at any given point in time, he can send a message out saying that hey, martial law is in effect now. Y'all stay in your homes, be patient with us. We're going to go out here. We got the Marines involved. We're going to take over the court systems, and everything goes into military tribunals. That way you can take an everyday citizen or a non-citizen, and then you can round them all up, take them to Guantanamo and the other prison islands that are out there that they've restored and they're upgrading. And notice they're upgrading all the prisons all over the place. 60,000 indictments so far. Now, does that mean all 60,000 are part of the takedown? No, not necessarily, because there's all sorts of different kinds of court cases that are going on. But 60,000 is a lot, so you're probably talking at least 30 to 40,000 of them are going to get locked up or detained. Okay, so then we get past the midterms, and they're trying to rig the votes, trying to get their Senate seats back because Donald Trump pulled off something amazing, getting 2 seats, at least 2 seats, added to the Senate as a president, which is very rare. But they're also realizing, hey, we need the Senate, not the House. The House is an empty shell. It's a ghost. It's worthless. And so we got to get over here and get the Senate. And so they started rigging the votes and doing all that stuff. In the meanwhile, we were gathering up all the evidences of what they were doing, and all that will be made public later. Just like every step of the way, things have been hidden from the public. Why? Because all evidences of all the atrocities, of all the different frauds, and all the different things that are deserving of impeachment in most cases need to come to light, and you have to get all the evidence, and you have to connect everyone that's connected with those people. You got to get all them people also under indictments and under sealed indictments, and all the different things have to be put into place before this thing can become public. Okay, you can't mess this up. You mess this up and the whole thing starts again. In fact, it gets a whole lot worse. Okay, so you also have, they're carrying on, that is the cabal, is carrying on with their agenda. Remember Agenda 21, where they want to wipe out the population. So after the elections, all of a sudden we have the caravan showing up at our southern border. We've got fires being started in California, which are clearly not forest fires because the forest itself is not burning, but only concrete structures. I mean, it's not a forest fire. It is a concrete fire, basically, a metal fire. It only consumes Basically, it only consumes housing areas and businesses, and now it's going up up there to where the movie stars are. These fires, and it's wiping out their properties. And remember, what do they want to do? They want to rewild California and round everybody up into mega cities where they can control them and manipulate them. So you are at war, guys. Whether you want to believe it, whether you want to accept it, or you don't want to accept it, does not matter. We are at war. Over here on the Q-Anon site, and I'll talk to you guys about Q-Anon in another video here quickly, as quick as I can get a video out to you guys. He talked about the election rigging, and with respect, honor, and gratitude, your sacrifices will never be forgotten. Thank you. God bless our veterans. And then from this point, we got the placeholders, indictments, trackings for the civilians, placeholder indictments tracking non-civilians, indictments, okay? Then you got the rulings, the U.S.A. versus the defendants, appeals. You got challenges, civilian, non-civilian, branch terminations of branches, the leaks that have come out, acts of treason, and so, okay. So what you're seeing here is that at this point, Q-Anon has begun to set up all these placeholders for all the major events that are going to be coming down the pike. Now, does that mean it's going to happen tomorrow? Does that mean it's going to be exposed tomorrow? No, it does not. It just means that all the placeholders are in position and ready to go, so that when the time comes, then he can start filling in the placeholders. But that doesn't mean it'll happen tomorrow or next week or the week after. Just understand that there is coming a time, most likely, more than likely, where we're going to go under martial law, okay? Because these people have to be rounded up, they have to be collected, and you're talking about all-out violence because we are at war. You see the fires, you see the devastation, you see people losing their homes, you see the cabal trying to take over the elections, the midterm elections, trying to gain seats and trying to get their authority back. You see it all. You see it right before your very eyes. The fires, the midterm elections, the caravans coming, all the different things that are all coming together. You are at war right here, right now. We are under a national emergency. A national emergency. I'll get over to these Q-Anon posts here later on. Matter of fact, I'm fixing to get started on that video and get ready to get that all uploaded up to you, because you guys got to understand Q-Anon. What Q-Anon is actually a light shining in darkness. And I know a lot of people, when Q got going in the beginning, I started following them, and then I fell away from them because I thought it was part of the system. And then I went back to them, and then I fell away again because I thought it was part of the system. And then I began to realize what the heck was really going on, and looking around and observing and just using my eyes and looking around, and it becomes very clear that over and over and over and over and over and over again, Q-Anon foretold what was going to happen. He says the future proves the past. Future proves the past. And over and over again, he told us what was coming, and then it came. Eventually, sometimes months later, sometimes the next day. Okay, he told us when there was going to be false flags operations prior to them happening, and who was going to be involved. And then we'd find out later that's exactly who's involved. And that what I'm saying is, truth is light, and that's according to your scriptures. Light is truth. Truth is light. And the fact of the matter is, Q-Anon is trying to get information out there to the patriots, to the people, we the people, so that we can understand what's happening, so we can wake up, so we can be prepared for martial law, the collapse of the economy, and all the different things that are going to have to take place. At some time you got to get rid of the Federal Reserve, guys. At some point you have to get rid of this fake entity that's printing our money and give the power back to Congress where it belongs. You have to at some point. We are at war. I can't stress this enough. We are at war. Start doing research from a war perspective. Start looking at things from a war perspective. The cabal against the patriots. Start looking at it that way, and your eyes will open up rapidly and quickly. I promise you. Because everything that's going on is an attack against the people. It's also an attack against Trump, because Trump is standing up against the cabal. Now, does that mean that Trump is forever going to be on our side? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I can't predict the future, and nobody can predict the future. I mean, we can have ideas and concepts and what's going to happen. We know for a fact that there's chaos coming. Why? Because that's what the cabal does. It's not the Democratic Party, guys. It's not the Republican Party either. The Republican Party is not the good guys either. Okay? It is the patriots against the cabal. It's that simple. And eventually it's going to be the world against the cabal, as everyone around the world wakes up to what's been going on for years, many years. I love you guys. Get in the Word. Stay in the Word. Get the Word in you. I can't stress that enough. Everyone has sinned. Everyone has fallen short of the glory of God. Everyone. Every single person alive. No one can escape that. We all have sinned in one way or another. We've all fallen short. We all deserve eternal damnation. But through Jesus Christ, all can be saved. All can have eternal life if you believe upon Him. Repent, guys. It's time to repent. It's time to get right. It's time to repent for our nation's mistakes. And it's time to get right. I can't stress that enough. You must get right with your Father in heaven. You need Jesus Christ. You need salvation. We all need it. And we need to get things right. And we need to shut down this cabal once and for all. This evil network, this Luciferian worshiping group that has taken over the earth. And it is being exposed. It's being exposed in the music industry. It's being exposed in the Democratic Party. It's being exposed the pedophilia. It's being exposed the human trafficking. It's being exposed the sexual misconduct. Everything is becoming exposed. And it is your job to get out and to help expose it. To sound the trumpet. To tell the world what's really going on. To wake up the American people and the people of the world. So that they can see for the first time in their lives what is really, truly, genuinely going on before it is too late. They are going down, people. They are going down. And they are scared to death right now. And the more people wake up, the scarier they get. And the more that's revealed through Trump and Q-Anon and through different congressmen and different things, the more panic they come. And when they panic, what do? False flags, fires, riots, shootings. We are at war. Pay attention to your surroundings. If you see something, record it. If you have to, send me the video. I'll put it on my channel and get it out to thousands of people. Okay? Whatever it takes, guys. Expose the works of darkness. That's our job. Expose the works of darkness. Do not let them get away with what they're doing. Expose it, expose it, expose it. I love you guys. Talk to you later.